From the misty shores of the Baltic to the far-flung coasts of distant lands, one name from the north has echoed through the halls of history: the Vikings. But what do we really know about them? Forget the horned helmets and the brutish stereotypes for a moment. Let's journey back in time to the very heartland of these legendary seafarers, to a land of endless forests, glittering lakes, and iron-rich mountains. Let's explore the epic history of Sweden and the people who would change the world. Our story begins long before the first longship set sail. For millennia, the land we now call Sweden was home to scattered tribes, hunters, and farmers living in tune with the harsh, beautiful Nordic seasons. By the 6th century, two powerful groups emerged from the sagas: the Swedes, or Svir, centered in Svealand around modern-day Uppsala, and the Geats, or Getter, to the south in Götaland. These weren't nations as we know them today, but a patchwork of chiefdoms bound by kinship, honor, and a shared, profound mythology. At the heart of their world was the great pagan temple at Uppsala. Here, they honored gods like Odin, the All-Father, Thor, the thunderous protector, and Freyr, the god of fertility and prosperity. These weren't just stories, they were a complete worldview, a way of understanding life, death, and the cosmos. It was this fierce, fatalistic belief system that would fuel the spirit of the age to come. As the 8th century dawned, a perfect storm was brewing. Advances in shipbuilding, a growing population, and a thirst for wealth and glory set the stage for an unprecedented explosion out of Scandinavia. The Viking Age had begun. While their Norwegian and Danish cousins often sailed west to raid and settle in Britain and France, many Swedish Vikings, often known as Varangians, turned their eyes to the east. Their incredible river-faring skills allowed them to navigate the vast network of waterways stretching through modern-day Russia and Ukraine. They weren't just raiders, they were master traders, explorers, and entrepreneurs. They founded settlements, established trade routes connecting the Baltic with the Black Sea, and dealt in furs, amber, honey, and, tragically, slaves, exchanging them for silver and exotic goods from the Byzantine Empire and the Abbasid Caliphate. These eastern adventurers were known as the Rus. In fact, many historians believe the very name Russia is derived from this Old Norse term. They established key trading posts like Staraya Ladoga and Novgorod, and eventually their influence stretched all the way to the grandest city of the age, Constantinople, which they called Miklagard, the Great City. These Varangians were so renowned for their loyalty and fighting prowess that they formed the elite Varangian Guard, the personal bodyguards of the Byzantine Emperor. Imagine that: Swedish Vikings, standing guard in the opulent palaces of Constantinople, a world away from their frosty northern homes. Back in Sweden, society was transforming. The silver dirhams flowing back from the east funded powerful chieftains and kings, helping to consolidate power. The old tribal lands began to slowly coalesce. Legendary figures like Björn Ironside, a son of the mythical Ragnar Lothbrok, are said to have raided far into the Mediterranean. But the most crucial shift was a change of the heart. Christian missionaries, like Ansgar in the 9th century, began to challenge the old gods. This wasn't a quick or easy process. It was a slow, often conflicted conversion that took centuries. For a long time, both faiths existed side by side. The year 1000 AD marks a significant turning point. Olaf's konung became the first king to rule over both the Swedes and the Geats and, crucially, the first Swedish king to be baptized. This signaled the beginning of the end for the old ways and the start of Sweden's integration into Christian Europe. The Viking Age was waning. The longships that once inspired terror were being replaced by the spires of new stone churches. The era of raiding was giving way to the era of state building, but the legacy of the Vikings was now permanently etched into the DNA of the Swedish kingdom. By the 12th and 13th centuries, Sweden was a recognized Christian kingdom, albeit one still forging its identity. Power struggles between rival dynasties were common, but a centralized monarchy was slowly but surely taking hold. The capital eventually moved from Uppsala to the strategically located city of Stockholm. Founded by the powerful statesman Birger Jarl, this period also saw the Northern Crusades, as Sweden expanded its influence eastward into Finland, a relationship that would define the region for the next 600 years. The late Middle Ages brought new challenges. In 1397, Sweden entered the Kalmar Union, a personal union under a single monarch that united the kingdoms of Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. The idea was to create a powerful Scandinavian bloc to counter the influence of the German Hanseatic League. However, for Sweden, the union was often dominated by Danish interests, leading to frequent rebellion and conflict. It was an uneasy partnership, simmering with resentment, that would eventually boil over. The final, dramatic break came in the early 16th century, the brutal event known as the Stockholm Bloodbath, where a Danish king executed dozens of Swedish nobles, ignited a full-scale war of liberation. A young nobleman named Gustav Vasa rose to lead the rebellion. He successfully drove out the Danes, and in 1523, he was elected King of Sweden, dissolving the Kalmar Union for good and establishing the Vasa dynasty. This is the moment modern Sweden is truly born. Gustav Vasa was a revolutionary ruler. He broke with the Catholic Church, embraced the Protestant Reformation, and seized the Church's vast lands and wealth, laying the financial foundation for a strong, centralized state. The Viking spirit of adventure and ambition, once channeled into longships, was now directed into building a nation. From the fierce pagan warriors of ancient Uppsala to the savvy Varangian traders on the rivers of the east, and finally to the birth of a modern kingdom under Gustav Vasa. The early history of Sweden is a powerful saga of transformation. It's a story of how a collection of northern tribes, fueled by courage and a unique worldview, not only explored the world, but also laid the foundations for the innovative and progressive nation we know today. Their journey is a testament to the enduring power of heritage, adaptation, and the relentless march of history. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey through time. If you enjoyed this exploration of Sweden's epic past, please give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next historical adventure. We'll see you in the next one.